Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see.
Here, sobrang nakakatakot sa window ko, like yung branch ng puno tumatama sa window. Anyway, see. Okay, let's go. Let's do this.
Okay. Let's see. From last week. Um. mm, let's see. I'm checking on something quickly.
Okay.
Okay. So last time we talked about the Power BI, SQL API, M code, deeper understanding of API's fundamentals, analyze data flow API. I remember last time we did do a rough draft of the process.
Mm-mm.
Um, Let me know if there's something you'd like to show first, and we'll see how to go from there.
Okay.
Um, you can share your screen if you want.
So this is the ones we discussed last
Yep,
week.
yep. Then what we can do now is from this documentation, we can kind of
Mm.
start where you wanna go deeper or focus more, right? Um, for example, um, you can create a new window, I would say, and then let's just create like issues in the repo so we have a tracker.
Okay. New window as in
Oh, just sorry, create a new tab like issues.
like on Google.
No, in this repo, issues.
Oh, like here.
Yeah. No, 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 no.
Oh, where do you want it?
At the top,
Uh huh. Yeah.
issues.
Issues. Oh, here. Okay. Okay.
And then I want two tabs side by side. So we'll create the issue while we look at your repo.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me up. Let me fix the share screen. Entire screen. Can you see my screen now? Okay. So,
There's a way to split your screen as well.
uh,
You don't need to create a new tab. You're already there. You can just hit the back button, command back button. No, command forward button.
okay. Hold on.
No, when I say forward button, you click it.
Hmm?
Can you command?
I don't have command. I'm using Windows.
Oh, control.
Control. Then
Click.
what? Then click. Okay. And then what?
And then
Oh,
put them side by side.
okay. Hold on.
So I'll repeat again if it was not clear. I want it side by side,
Like
right?
this.
Okay. So from your document on the left,
Mm-hmm.
start creating issues wherein how you want to improve. the section. Okay, let's say APIs, or but like what do you want to learn in API, right? The added description.
Okay.
Okay, and then you can use the title as API with Power Query encode. And then yeah, assign it to yourself probably at the right. Excuse me. Okay, now go deeper on when you say understand how to connect, like which part of it.
So it would be from API to how it can.
Okay, that's one. That's a good one.
I think it's only that because Power Query is just Power Query, and then API I assume is always has token and bear like a bear token and the what to call this? Let me see. Let me see an example.
Yeah, you can pull up that very
Yeah,
documentation.
yeah. Give me a second. Let me find it. So yeah, so it has a client ID and client secret, and then the token. So token, client ID, and then client secret. And then I think you also need store hash, but this store hash, I don't know if it's particularly just for BigCommerce or if all API would have something similar to that.
Okay,
Because
so let's say to utilize token and then go create another bullet point token and then a sub bullet point. Sub bullet point is basically space then dash. Oh, yeah, something like that. Or you can do a yeah, that's fine. And then list down the client ID, client secret, store hash.
okay,
And then we can do a step up because I know for sure probably you're gonna research on just how to connect, right? I'd like you to find explanation on why client ID is needed on APIs, or like why client secret is also important, or the store hash is something I don't know. So yep.
okay. Let me take a look. Let's see. Okay, so log in. So the connection parameters I actually needed was just access token and store hash. I didn't even need, we didn't need to use the client ID. So Looking at this query here.
Also, feel free to add the links in this issue so that you can quickly reference once you're building your document. When you're building your document.
Mm, hold on. Checking to see. Okay, so store hash token. Okay, so yeah, so we did not need to use the client secret and client ID, but we only needed to use the token and then store hash. So basically, the store hash is there are um, each BigCommerce front end is has a unique store hash. So basically, each front end is a store, like a web store, and then it has its own store hash. So the token,
So remind me again. So okay, I got what you're saying, that you said each resource has a store hash.
yes. So yeah. So we're connecting to two different source, right? So each web store front end has a particular store hash and has a particular token, and then
So is store hash the unique identifier?
yeah, unique identifier of that web online.
Okay,
Yeah, same with the token. So the token is also unique.
but the token is something that
So
your
the way it works is once you create an API on the BigCommerce, it actually generates an access token, a client name, a client ID, client secret. But the store hash don't change. So even if you keep recreating an API token or generating an API token, the store hash don't change, but everything else can change.
Yeah. So my question now is, when you access the API with your token, is it
Mm-hmm.
your personal token or is it like a service account?
Uh, I think technically it's technically I guess it's mine, but then because I don't have to keep regenerating it, so people can use the token. Because on the Power BI Power Query, we already create. I created like a variable connection where the variable has the token that's being that was generated to get all these information. So like let me show you what I'm saying. Hold on. So you see this connection parameters? Can you see the screen?
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Okay, so the connection parameter. So this is access token for that one, and then there's also an access token for another one. And then each one has two different store hash as well. But when I generated the API tokens, I generated one for EC and I generated one for Sage.
Is EC and Sage different environments?
Yeah, they are different environments. And then let me show you what it looks like on the front end.
And what's the name again? Big Commerce EC, and what again is the other one?
That's just a label, but it's called Big Commerce EC, which is emergency care, and then the other one is Big Commerce Sage. So you can see here I have two environments. So I have Striker Corporation and then I have Striker Emergency Care. So when I generated the API, I generated one for this environment. I also generated another one for this environment. But they on the front end, on the customer side, they are two separate um, environment altogether with like uses the separate system, and then people report uses report separately as well. Separate logins for some people.
Uh-huh.
And then that each of this environment can generate, so like let's give an example. So there's a setting here. I can create store level API accounts, and then I can generate, like, I can create an API account. This is what I created for myself, and then with all the necessary things I need. But once I create this, I can no longer see the client token, client ID, and things like that. They send it to my email one time, and then if I need to get the information again, I can no longer get it. I'll have to recreate an API token altogether and then delete this or something. But yeah. So going back to the to here. So basically for this API, it's only grabbing two things. The only thing I'm not sure if this is um, generic, meaning like if there was another API token that I grab from like a different system, like not BigCommerce, I don't know if it's also asking for these two things, or if it's gonna be using something separate, because it might just vary on the documentation. But in this case, we have added in on the top. So like we created like a variable that would grab the two, um, the store hash and access token from the connection parameters.
So you said the tokens are basically tied to your account. Is that what you're saying?
Uh, yeah. So I think when you generate the API, it would give you a list of something like this. Hold on, let me show you. It gives you something like this information, but in a separate like text file, and then but you only really need is the access token and the store hash. These two. Everything else, I guess you don't need, or probably if if it's using Python, maybe it would use these things versus like the access token and store hash.
Yeah. So my question coming from that is, what if you lose access, or then how would other users um
So because when we created the data flow, it's not using my account. It's using the service account
okay,
access.
so
So
I'm a little bit confused. You said you generated a token from your personal account.
so think of it. The BigCommerce is separate from the Power BI. I just generated it, but people can. But then because the data flow where Power BI lives, the user is the service account. So if you have access to the service account, technically you can read all the information on there.
So you mentioned Power BI. The end
So like
user is the service account.
yeah, so like look at this. You see it's empty. The account. So basically when we created the data flow, we created it using the service account of the company. So anyone that has access or has the password to the service account, which is the team, would be able to look at the advanced editor and be able to see, oh, this is the store hash, this is the token, and things like that.
Okay, so just quickly clarify. So you generate the token not using your personal account.
No, no. So I was the only one that was given BigCommerce account. So even technically, it does once you generate it, it no longer needs your account, your BigCommerce account. At least from what I at least from what I understand. It does I don't need to log in or anything once I have the access token and store hash.
That's something still really not clear for me.
Um, so I don't know how this works exactly. At least for big commerce, it might just be not common, but the way they made it, the way they made it is so you have a login at big commerce, right? So this is technically my account, and I was the one who generated the API token. But once I generated the API token, I just whatever the token number is, we just plugged it in on the we just plugged it in on the Power BI side.
Hmm.
But we didn't really do anything else. So we just plug it in, and then now it's part of like a folder with, it's like a text file on the Power BI side. And then I don't if they have to regenerate API token, then they just have to update that part, this part here. Wait, not this one, but they just have to update this if they have to change, if they have to do another,
Hmm.
if they have to update the tokens by chance it's no longer working, then they just have to update this. At least the token, the hash will stay the same. Does that make sense? I mean, this could just be in the like the BigCommerce documentation, so it could just be siloed on how they use their API. Because this is the first one that we created an API, data flow using an API.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I did, but then because I haven't used a different system, like that uses API that we created a data flow, so I can't tell you if this is siloed on BigCommerce or maybe there's some more. Maybe each system has like a different way of using their accessing their APIs. I would assume though, if it was Python, that I
So,
would.
quick question though. So for that token,
Mm.
I mean, who's using that? Is like every other end user?
No, not anymore. I mean, now it just now it just refresh the data, so the token just lives there, but not no one really acts it. No one really messes with that. But then there's now a recurring refresh, incremental refresh on the data flow. So whenever the data flow automatically refresh, it would just run the code.
Okay. Okay. Mm, mm,
Any more questions?
yeah. I guess you can help me understand next time how does the hierarchy of like it's a service account, then it's your personal account, then you can generate, but it's tied to your service account. So
Um, think of it, the big commerce is totally separate. So, but then the way Striker works is, as much as possible, they create team service account, and
yeah,
then
that one I understand.
hmm?
That one I understand.
Yeah, and
So from
then
the team service account, you create your personal account.
no, we don't create your own personal account. By default, all Striker employees has access to Power BI by default. And then they can publish using their name, or they can log in as the service account and publish as part of the service account name.
So you don't have your personal account
We no no we do.
for the token generation.
For the token generation, it's total separate from Striker. So
It doesn't. My question was not really Striker versus BigCommerce. Whichever we're talking about. So when you're generating the token,
yeah,
did you have to be on your own personal account or
it
service account?
did because they created, so whoever the admins. there was, so there's two admins from two different people system, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the admins actually created the a user access for me to
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
create so I can create an API token, generate, but them as an admin, they could have also created one for me, and then they could have just given me the token and I can work with that. Does that make sense? Yeah, it's kind of weird with bookcommerce because it it's not tied to any IT or any striker overarching service account whatsoever. It acts as its own system.
I mean, it's usually like that, so it's not gonna be weird. It's
Okay.
for me, probably it's my knowledge gap, and I just want to understand, uh, cause different API vendor providers,
Mm,
they may have some similarities and differences on how to access, how to
yeah.
manage their security or user level privileges, right? So, or their hierarchy or tenancy. So
Yeah.
that's something would be really good to nail down to really understand. Um, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess in the big commerce side, or whatever, or this example at least, it's it's not, I'm not too sure if we had to use, how we use the documentation from like BigCommerce and recreate the Power Query code. I don't know if particularly that BigCommerce, when my coworker created the framework, I don't know if he already just know how to create the M code, or if he had to check the documentation how to create the M code to utilize the token and the store hash. So that's where I may have to, check or have to research. But since it's already been set up, then that's why I haven't really been touching it at all, or like even tried to learn more about it. I mean, I can read it, but I just didn't, bother to check how it came to be.
Yeah. I guess I will go back again to the simple question. If you're able to answer, great. If you are not able to answer, then you have to ask around. If your account got deleted, would your token still work?
Oh, my user account.
The one you used to generate for that token.
Ah, okay, yeah, I can ask, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's one of your to do. Because then, if they said it doesn't get deleted, then great, you don't have to do anything. But it says it gets deleted, then the next question is, what should, how can I improve this, right?
Yeah, I okay. I'll probably do some research on that one
Yep.
and check to see if I can find any information.
Okay, then that's actually already a good kind of research knowledge to address some gaps there. So you can write it somehow and add it as a checklist there. There should be a checklist type of like
Here.
at the top in the
Um,
editor, in the text editor. There should be a checklist near the bullet points.
Bullet points. Oh, this one, passless?
Yeah. Okay. Did you still want to stay on this topic that you wanna investigate further, or you wanna move around to another topic? Is this related to the M code? No.
This one?
Is
No.
M code is different, right?
Yeah, no. It would just be, I would just probably just do a research separately, just to, but maybe just even check, like if an account was deleted or the user account who created the API token was deleted, will their API token still be active, or will they need, will the business need a, a new token generated API token?
Yeah. Another thing actually you can ask is in relation to that same issue. Let's say if let's say your account is deleted and token is there still, right? Um, does it expire? Right?
That one, I don't think it expires.
Then you have to have a solid answer, like
Uh,
a documentation that says the tokens that are generated doesn't expire. Should we set an expiry or not? Because it could the conversation would now go from either, oh wow, yeah, good that you asked these. It's actually a good security, best practice. Or it may happen to be like, we don't really care. It's internal. Hope nobody really checks. We just need to make it working. So there can be like two conversation that can happen.
okay. Got it.
Okay, for the M code though, the scenario last time you were saying is, let's say there's two APIs with two different API tokens from two different sides, requiring the use of a variable separated by names. API token for this one, API token for another one. That's the only thing I have in my notes.
Mm.
Is there anything more deeper on? Is it because more like how to connect the two different APIs, or how to process their data, or how to merge their data? Um,
So we did that because of how the data, so the data is separated. So like think of it as two different system altogether. And then on the M code side, once we generated the data from each system,
uh-huh.
then we did a merge. And then we did a merge. Yeah. So
Okay.
now,
Okay.
if you're an end user for the Power BI, you're only working with one table, and then the table just has like another field or another column that would just that would just say whether the data is from EC or the data is from Sage.
Okay. So you
Yeah.
do just want to label where they come from.
Yeah, we just label them. Yeah. But the user basically is working with just one table.
Yeah. So another thing that can help either your team
Mm.
is you can do a simple plot process flow diagram. You can quickly Google that one. You could
Mm-hmm.
just do it in PowerPoint, handwrite it, or use a diagramming tool.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it just helps people know that this data comes from this data comes from this, and it merges. Kind of like a simple architecture, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah, so doing this already, you're doing actually one of the first diagramming or steps of like system architecture. From there on, what's great with this, let's say once you start doing the process flow, you might think about extending it or applying it to your other systems, or
Mm.
even thinking about other diagramming tools. Let's say there's another diagram that is has more details similar to that one. Can you check what's the name?
Mm-hmm.
Scenario.
Scenario diagram?
Yeah, can you check on that? Yes, sequence diagram. That's the word I'm looking for. So what's great with the sequence diagram? Process flow, think of it as like where your data goes from one to the other, or what's your logic. Um, what's great with the um, sequence diagram, you can make it very simple as well, but you can make it as deeper as this, wherein you're basically knowing you have several systems. Let's say click that one, visit that one, the one that is currently highlighted. No, no, the one that was currently highlighted, right?
Okay.
Right. The good point here is understanding the back and forth between system, right? For example, you have two systems communicating to each other. You're kind of understanding how one goes from left to right, right to left. Probably let's find another better image that we could understand right away. Can you go? What's this one? No, let's do something. Go back. Let's do sequence diagram API call. The first one is actually can is workable, I think. So this one, right? This is actually a one of the simpler ones we're in your app. The app means it's your UI, your front end, your client, or your let's say dashboard that's dynamic. The get is basically a get request, and basically sometimes you put the resource to URL, and this one it looks like it's calling the specific function, right? Web service is your backend, or any name you want to say, or it's a specific name. And then what's great with this is you'll kind of see how the flow goes. Wherein, okay, if the backend understands the request from the front end, then it'll now ask the database. It also sends a request to the database, right? And from the database, you can pull your information, right? And then it goes back to the back end. If it needs to process it more, then good. If not, you can send it back to the front end for it to consume.
Okay. So
So,
the thing with this one is I don't know like because we didn't use like a get request. I don't know if the M code is automatically uses a get request. So and then I don't remember that it was explicitly mentioned it was. So I don't know how
so
this.
that's the good thing. You're saying the things that you say you don't know. Those are actually the things that can help you, even though you mentioned that one of your assumption is they're automatic, but
Mm.
yes, they still actually do requests, right?
Yeah, but it doesn't tell me for at least the code doesn't really give me an idea what it is.
Yeah, I know the code might not give you an idea, but you could either do check the documentation, the website, or now there's AI tools. If you ask the AI,
Yeah.
and then say, "Oh, does this system? I feel like it's automatic, but does that make a request?" And just ask your AI to provide a reference so you can verify and validate. Then great.
Mhm.
Now you can answer that with certainty, because that's something that you wanna be able to answer next time to any stakeholders. You less try to say I think, it's more like, oh, I know for sure, right?
Yeah.
Slowly but surely, right? Okay, I see that you're really sleepy, so we can take a pause. I feel like we did flesh out a lot of good stuff here, so that should be good for today. Yep. All good. Any anything that you um, thing is with mentorship sessions as well is you also have to help your mentor help you guide you, right? Is it going to the right way? Is it something we have to change up? Because we're doing kind of like if you're if let's say you're not able to do the kind of like the weekly tasks, which is fine, then we kind of do this like pair programming or investigate, right? So if this is working, we can continue. If not, we can change things up.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have anything for now, then you can think about it for next time as well, right?
Okay,
Okay,
that works.
sounds good. Bye, Justine.
Bye.